Afternoon, members. Going to have a quick look around the seedling house, or this particular seedling house. This is one of several that I have. These are Billbergias, obviously, that we're looking at, and we're also looking at a whole range of different little babies. One, the cockatoos flying over. Just a moment. There we go. Back to the Billbergias. Also Alcantara pups from last year that have been growing on, a couple of seedlings from some Grexes that I did earlier on. I love the little curly ones. This one here is Stormy White Snow. This little curly one hasn't been named yet, so I've just got to work out a name for it. The pink ones behind are already registered. They are several years old, have flowered, and they've already gone through the registration process. So down below we've got lots of seedlings, as I said, different kinds, Neoregelias, Alcantaras, Billbergias, you name it, it's pretty much growing, and happily as in these little individual seedling houses, which are really good because I can vent or unvent them depending on the weather. So it's been a really hot day here in Brisbane, so they've been open to allow them to vent. So I've just been doing a little bit of watering just to freshen them all up. These are all several months old now, so these ones are Neoregelias here, for example, that were planted up last year. Yes, last year. They are over a year old, believe it or not. Back in 2020, actually, in February. So these guys here are already 2-year-old. They've been moved into a different potting medium now, and so they'll grow much faster, being fed and being separated from their siblings as well. So we'll just monitor them over the next few months and then move them on as they grow. Same with these guys up here. These are also what used to be Neoregelia pink spider, but they've been renamed Halaciums, and so they're quite cute. They grow on little stolons, so you've got to be a little bit careful with them. I'll just open that pot up again. So you've got to be a little bit careful with them. They grow on itty bitty little tiny stolons, these guys. So when potting them up, they grow really fast from seed, and I don't know if you can see the little tiny, there it is there, itty bitty tiny stolon. That's all that's keeping it in place in those pots. So they're quite delicate, but they're doing really well. So they're Halacium, and there's a couple of pots of those amongst these fellas. If I can find the second pot somewhere. Versus these little guys here, which are another Neoregelia. Looking at them, quick look at its tag as well. Planted in September of 21, and yes, they are a Neoregelia. So seeds are hybridized. Either myself hybridize my own seed, or it's obtained through a seed bank, and then we go through the process of starting them off in coir fibre initially, and then once they're big enough they get moved into these little containers to grow on individually in clusters initially, and then once they're large enough they can be popped out. Now it can take a couple of years for them to be popped out into their individual containers. Once they do pop out into their individual containers, such as these ones, they do grow really rapidly. So it's a matter of feeding them. It also gives you the chance of working out which ones you want to keep in amongst your Grex. So this is all one Grex that you're looking at here, and you can see there's great variety in amongst them. So it depends on what trait I'm after. If I'm after a medium mottled red variety, then yeah, I'd be selecting all of those lovely little red ones, and all the rest of them would be discarded. And so they're not filling up the market with Grexes or codes or anything like that. Same with the Billbergias. They take years to colour up. Once they do colour up and start to show their potential, as I've learned, it does take a couple of years, even beyond their first flowering. Sometimes first flowering may be a little bit bland, but then you wait a little bit for the next generation. Sometimes they're better, as for example with this one here. Here's Mum, which is Ho-Hum. Boring looking thing, isn't she? She's old. I know she's old, but that's okay. But the fact is that she's a short, stumpy little nondescript, not mottled, was a very boring plant. So it got fed to the goat. But just before I fed it to the goat, I saw something about the same size as that coming out of the goat's mouth, and quickly grabbed the plant back and went, that's not too bad. I'll actually take that back up. And this is what we've ended up with, which is this gorgeous big pink one, which is my humdinger. So this one here is Stormy Humdinger. This is dry. This is its coloration that you get during the day. Imagine that when the light hits it. Very pretty. So I have 3 of them in existence, and that's all. And that goes after several years, 3 or 4 years. Hasn't flowered yet, luckily. So it's still got some growing to do. So it's a good size. Up the top again, lots and lots more Billbergia seedlings of all different grexes. They're all coded and numbered, and the most important thing when you are registering plants or going down the hybridization route is that everything needs to be individually coded. That code needs to be documented somewhere, and I would suggest not on a computer or a telephone. Gee, we don't use those words too often, do we? Mobile phone. Reason being, you can lose that data, you've lost all your files, so I keep them in a book. As well as on my phone, so that it does make it easy as I'm walking around, so I know what Grex number 2, what number 3. So right here is Grex number 2 and number 3, and then number 1. By the time we get to Grex number 50 something down below here, I've got no idea what they are. So, and when you're looking at hundreds here, it's very difficult just to pick up a pot and know exactly what it is that you're looking at or remember what a number is. So instead of writing the Grex name, so in this case, it was the night skies crossed with itself, back on itself. That's easy, night skies crossed back on itself. But it was actually given a code, and its code is number 2. And so all the Grexes number 2 are that Grex. They all belong to the same. Great lot of variety amongst them. They've been culled repeatedly. So from several hundred seedlings initially, because night skies is a big flowering plant, gives you lots of seed, luckily. One of the few Billbergias that do. So I ended up with several hundred seedlings, and out of those seedlings, plucked away all of the good sized ones, and some of the huge ones over the other side are as a result of that as well. Alright, that's the end of the video for today. Best of luck with everything, everyone, and going down the route of hybridization. Thank you. Bye.